Welcome to Municipal Focus. As you know, this is a program that we try to look at different things that are going on in the community, usually on the town level. We speak to town officials. It could be officials from other parts of the county. It varies, but we use this for things other than what's happening in the communities. That's what we have other shows like Crosstalk for. Joining us today is Dawn Varley. She is the Whitman Town Clerk, and we're just right around the corner for the town election, which is May 15th. And she's here to share just some details, some reminders, and some new things that are happening when it comes to voting. Dawn, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm so glad that you were able to fit me into your schedule. Like you said, it's not often that I want to be here, but I have a lot of information for the voters of town that I think that they need to know about.
So we got days away from the election.
Yep.
What has changed because of COVID? What changes is your office and other town clerks' offices experiencing?
So what the Secretary of State's office has done is they've extended the COVID laws pertaining to voting and early voting to June 30th. So anybody having an election has options. Those options are being early voting in person. We are required to have early voting by mail, but I asked the Board of Selectmen to do early voting in person. And we are doing that it'll be all next week, the 10th through the 13th during our normal business hours. So we do have Tuesday evening hours until 7:30. You can still also vote by mail. I don't want to deter anybody who does not want to come into the building. When you come into the building for early voting, you'll come in the handicapped down the ramp entrance. There'll be signs following up to the auditorium, and then you'll be exiting out the portico side. What I do want to stress to the people is town hall is still not open to the public. So you will not be able to access the treasurer collector's office. You will not be able to do regular business in the town clerk's office. You will not be able to go to the selectman's office. I will have stanchions with signs, and I ask the people to respect those signs and respect those offices, that they are still closed. Like I said, but we are open for early voting. As far as early voting, people are used to an electronic check-in process. We've been doing that for quite a few years, and it works well. It's quick, it's easy. The difference this year is because of the COVID laws, the state has allowed for electronic check-in for elections, and that's something that's new this year. I was unsure if I was going to do it. Other towns did it during the presidential. That was one election I didn't want to do because I'm unsure. I'm one of those old school type clerks where, I'm unsure, but everybody was successful. And based on that and the product itself, I'm sold on it. So I'm going to try it for the annual election. So that's what's going to really be different. I think people are used to early voting. What they're not used to is when they come in on election day, those people have not seen or used the electronic check-in for checking in for elections, but I think they'll like it. I mean, some people get frustrated with the election worker, thumbing through a list and that type of stuff, and that will not be happening. One of the COVID law new regulations is we can get rid of the checkout table. I'm still not comfortable with getting rid of the checkout table. I think checks and balances are a good thing. Maybe in the future you will see that. So basically what's going to happen is the voter's going to come in and they're going to check in. A receipt is going to print at the checkout table because we are required to keep a paper list or paper of sorts. So we have a paper trail. And the receipt's going to print at the back table so that the checkout person is going to know that you're coming through. And when you go out, you're still going to state your name and your address. That has not changed in the front, and it has not changed in the back. The way you check in is what has changed. I have the device here in front of me. I'd like just to give you a quick showcase of it. The thing with this too is it's a voluntary thing, but you can use your ID to check in, your driver's license. But it is, I have to encourage people or inform people, it is totally voluntary. We are a no ID state. You do not need your ID to vote. A lot of people come in with their IDs, and like I said, it does make it a little bit quicker, and I'll show you both, and both are very quick anyways. So It'll streamline the process. Hang on real quick. Let me grab. So this is the device. It's basically, so you can see the front of it. You won't see this. It's an iPad, basically, but what you'll be seeing is this backside. Right here is the plastic. This is a plastic thing where you would put your ID if you are going to scan in with your ID. And you, as the voter, are the one who puts the ID there. It's all in your control. When we do town meeting, I am going to have a quick check-in line. I'm going to do the normal check-ins, but I will also have one where it will say for quicker check-in, you must use your ID and you can go to this line. And basically all you do is you put your ID in, and the ID goes in, and your device, the device will scan it. Hang on one second. As quick as that. It's Michael doesn't care. So it's Michael. He's in, this is only precinct 1 for the training. So Michael is checked in as quick as that. So his receipt will print out down the end so that the checkout knows that Michael's coming down to vote. So that's basically, it looks like a little spaceship on the bottom. And that's all you'll have. You won't have the paper, the thumbing around or anything like that. Do you have any questions, Kevin?
I do have a question, and hopefully I'm putting forth the right questions for
Sure.
our viewers. So is this something that there'll be someone there at that device, and the person just has to put their license in a proper way so it can read it quickly?
So they'll still, I'm still required to have 2 people at check-in. So the person does have to, on the back screen, either if somebody's going to use their device, they have something that they're going to say, if you voluntarily wish to use your license, because that's one word we do have to use, you can, and then they have to push on the front of the iPad, because it's just an iPad. You push that they're going to do a scan, or then you have an option of doing a manual entry.
Okay.
So
and that would be a poll worker, Don, who would be doing that?
yes, it's a poll worker. So the manual entry is basically somebody's going to say your name and address. So just quick, I don't know if you can see it, it's just glare. Sorry about that. It's just a last name and a first name, and then they'll come up and it'll be just like the paper list, but this, you're not thumbing through streets. You still have to state your name and your address in case there are observers. That is the law. So yeah, that's it, go ahead.
Does new tech deal? What do you think of the new technology? I know it was a couple of years ago you had the electronic voting when it came to town meeting. Now this is a new innovation that's being added in. How's it feel to see that there's new technology being implemented into the town clerk's office?
Well, I'm always, like I said, I could get rid of the checkout. I could get, I think baby steps. I didn't want to be the guinea pig. I didn't want to be the one that started this. So a lot of other towns, if they could have used it in the presidential successfully, I think an annual town meeting is the perfect place. I mean, town election, sorry, is a perfect place to start. I am going to print out a paper list for backup because that's what I do. And we'll see how that goes. And the other thing that I want people to know is I did ask when the company came out, LHS is the company, they're the same people that provide us our voting machines. I asked about security. Is this secure? So this basically talks to the printer on a Bluetooth, and we use a .gov cloud, which the Department of Defense also uses. So I think if somebody wanted to hack into something, they're certainly not going to want to hack into the town of Whitman's voting list. If they can get into that cloud, they're going to get to the DoD stuff. But with this, if they do hack into it, which is darn near impossible, she assured me, anything that's on this device is public record anyways. A voting list is public record. Anybody can come in at any time. So there's no information on here. And when it scans your driver's license, it doesn't scan your picture. It's just scanning it. It doesn't hold it. It just, anything that it scans from it is what is public record already anyways. So the only thing that she said maybe is because it is Bluetooth, somebody could shut off your printer, but that's the worst thing that could happen. So I like that. I'm all about security. That was my other, I was reluctant to use it because of, there's a lot of talk about hacking and stealing information, but I've been assured, and I'm assuring the people of this town, this is very safe. I've seen it work. I've used it. I've done classes with my poll workers. So if a poll worker, is a little confused or anything, be patient with them. It's all new to them too. This is actually probably my 6th time holding the device, and I feel like it's my best friend. I can, I've shown a few of the selectmen, I've shown the finance committee, and, the IT director said, you look so comfortable with this. This is, and that was only probably the third time that I had handled the device, but it's an iPad. So I think we're all comfortable with an iPad.
And just to note, if folks haven't been to town hall in a while, or maybe you've never been, is the name that she scanned is Michael Ganshard, who works the polls, and he also works in the town clerk's office.
Yeah.
Anything you want to give in regards to the voting day? I know you've talked about early voting. I don't know if there's anything further to talk about with that, but the day of voting,
Okay.
when it
So the
comes
day,
next Saturday, poll hours, how to be prepared.
sure. So on election day, the entrance will be different. You will come in the front two doors, and I think people are used to this because this is the same way it was all last year. The front doors, there'll be signs out there saying enter here, enter here. I made sure. So, I mean, of course, the handicapped entrance will be open. You can go in that way as well for the handicapped or whoever would like to use it. The good thing about that day is no offices will be open, so I don't have to worry so much about that part. But there is a one-way in and a one-way out. So precincts 1 and 2 will come in and they will vote, and they will exit out the portico side of the building. Precincts 3 and 4 will come in the front doors, and they will exit out the parking lot side of the building. And that is for safety and things like, for that type of stuff. So it's very similar to the presidential, and we had a 75% turnout. So I think most people that will be here on May 15th from 9 to 5 is the hours. They probably already know the system. We have a very good setup here. We use stanchions. I do signs everywhere, even in the elevator. Press 1 to vote, press B to exit, and there'll be markings on the floor. I sanitize. I know, a lot more people have got comfortable with COVID. I am not. I think I still need to keep their voting environment safe, or as safe as I can keep it. And, we keep, we spray the handrails, we spray the booths, we spray, everything. And we will have shields. So be mindful of that when you come in. Not the shields, the plastic, whatever you want to call them. It does make it hard for people to hear. And then you have the mask, so that makes it hard for people to hear. So they may ask you to speak up, things like that. But this electronic check-in has nothing to do with that. That's been standard last, the presidential, it was hard to hear some of the people. So, but my workers work hard, whether it be Michael. I have new Jennifer Devasto. She's returned to my office. So I guess I'm doing something right if somebody wants to come back. So she was in our office and she left for a short time and has now returned. So, and she says it's funny that, things are actually totally different than they were 7 years ago, as far as what we do, whether it be voting, and a lot of other things have changed over the 7 years. And so hopefully, it's hard for me because I forget that she hasn't been here for 7 years. So things that I think she knows that think that have changed, that I just do second nature to me. So, and Michael, the thing with Michael is Michael's on the ballot. I'm not plugging him or anything, but with that being said, and I'm on the ballot, that makes it a little bit more difficult for my office and for the election workers, because we like to help them. And because we are both on the ballot, we can't be out there so much. We can't be handling the ballots and things like that. But there is a law that allows me to still run the election and be out there as the town clerk. But other than that, we have to be real careful and mindful of who's on the ballot, who's not on the ballot, who's working, who's not working. So,
Somebody, I would ask you this, probably one of my final questions, and that is if folks still have questions in regards to early voting or the day of voting, and are they eligible to vote? Best ways for folks to contact your office to seek that information, knowing that town hall is not accessible because of COVID.
So they can register to vote online at the OVR. You can go to www.registertovotema.com. You can also check your voting status there. You can also check the status of your early voting ballot or your absentee ballot. The Secretary of State's office has opened that portal. So if you've done a mail-in ballot, you can go there and just confirm that we've accepted it. You can go there and see if you are registered to vote, things like that. You can also always call our office at 781-618-9710 and would be happy to confirm your voter status and if we've received your ballot. You can request your early voting ballot by mail. You can fax me your ballot at 781-618-9710. I'm sorry, you can fax me your application. You can email me your application at dawn.varley@whitman-ma.gov. The application then generates us to mail you a ballot. The applications you can get from the Secretary of State's website. You could just simply write on a piece of paper, I would like a ballot for the May 15th election. My name is, and you have to put your name, you have to sign it, and where you want us to mail the ballot, even if it's at your home address. Just a piece of paper will work. You can drop that in the Dropbox, just that piece of paper. We check the Dropbox twice a day. And then it will generate us to mail you a ballot. How that ballot comes back, you can place it back in the Dropbox, which is outside of Town Hall in the parking lot side. It's about 4 feet tall and it is decorated in red, white, and blue. You can't miss it. You can mail it back to us, things like that. So we are available here for any questions, whether it be town meeting, and town meeting is scheduled for June 2nd. The warrant has not been posted, but it's been approved by the Board of Selectmen, and I'm just waiting to have it posted. The voter registration deadline for that is May 13th, which is next week, until 8:00 p.m. You do have to call us when you get here. The building again is not open, but there'll be signs at the doors. If you are here to register to vote for the June 2nd annual town meeting, you need to call this number and we'll come down and register you to vote. So the registration for the town election, that deadline has passed. But for the town meeting, the deadline is May 13th until 8 p.m. So there'll be somebody in the building to, but like I said, it is strictly only for voter registration. So,
Anything, as we wrap this up, have we missed anything you want to say in closing?
well, I think, I think people should, if they're unsure of being around a lot of people, I don't suspect that, I've looked back, we have an average of 10% of our voters. We have 11,000 voters. So I expect, 1,000 people. The only thing is the hours are shorter. So, you might have crowds. If you want to come when we are probably slowest is somewhere in midday. We're busiest in the morning, busiest at night, but somewhere in midday, you might find, this is on Saturday, the actual day of the election. As far as early voting in person, we've never done it for a town election, but I can tell you that last year for the annual, we had early voting by mail. We had 300 mail ballots. So this is trying to save money. If we do early voting, I don't know if you watch the selectmen's meeting, but if we do early voting by mail, it involves 7 pieces of paper. We have to pay for postage. There's a lot of work in my office. When the ballot comes back, we have to compare the signature on the ballot so that, like maybe Kevin, your neighbor didn't pick up your ballot and vote for you. So, because you have to sign the envelope with your ballot that's sealed inside. So we take that envelope and we compare your signature to your application and we compare your signature to your voter registration. So it is a very, even voting by mail, that's a lot of work for us versus if you come in and early vote in person, the voter's doing all the work for us. And not all the work, we still have to process those ballots on May 15th. They're not allowing early ballot processing. So we do have to us manually put those ballots in on May 15th. But I think it's a good opportunity for people if they want it. It's the way of the world. You're going to see it probably permanently for every election. That's what they're trying to advocate for. Galvin, that's what he wants. He wants early voting for every election. Like I said, it's the way of the world. And you can register to vote on your iPhone. You can check your status on your iPhone. I think he has a commercial. It says it takes less than 5 minutes. You can do all of that stuff. And again, we are here every day, normal business hours, sometimes more than normal business hours to help anybody. The phone number again, let me just repeat that, is 781-618-9710. So
Well, thank you for your time, Dawn.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you for sliding me in and making room for me, because I think it's important that people know.
Again, we've been speaking with Dawn Varley. She is the Whitman Town Clerk, giving you information about voting, early voting, how to vote, and the new machinery or the new tablet that they're going to be using this year to be able to quickly check you in. So
All the poll.
thank you very, very much for tuning into this segment.
Thank you.
You've been tuning into Municipal Focus. So until next time, have a great day.